Welcome back to Life Skills Computer Training and Consulting Limited. In this video, I want to introduce you to Cascading Style Sheet (CSS). And in website development, Cascading Style Sheet will do the work of styling and layout and formatting of your web page. As you know that HTML is for the content and the structure of your page. Style sheet is for styling, formatting, and layout of the page. In the previous topic, as a way of reminder, if I go back to my presentation in the previous topic, I introduced web layouts, where you can divide your web page into different sections like header, navigation menu bar, content area, and footer. And I said you can achieve that by using div tag. And in the topic, I give another layout like this. It depends on how you want to arrange your web page. And in order to achieve that, you have to introduce div tag. See, we have div ID equals overall wrapper. You sectionalize your web page. So, and all these things will be put in the body section of your page. You put it in the body section of the page. So, the essence of the div tag is to specify a section within your HTML document, and the div tag, they are similar to table, but they are easier to use. You can customize them with CSS. So in that in the last topic I said, in the next topic we'll be learning CSS, and here we are now. And I want to continue with CSS. So when we learn CSS, we'll be able to make use of our div tag very well. Now before we continue, if you are interested in more of our courses, you can visit www.lifeskilltech.xyz or www.ajewaleonline.com. You can also send an email to lifeskilltech@gmail.com, or you call this number. My name is Ajewale Peter. I'm Engineer Ajewale Peter, and I want you to be patient and continue to learn with me in this journey into CSS. Now, again, before that, I have the list of the courses that we offer on our web page. Now, all these courses, they are offered on our e-learning portal. It's a virtual classroom where you'll be taken through the courses until you get the mastery of the course. And in our virtual classroom, it's like a regular class where you do assignment, you participate in discussion, you do tests, and all sorts of things. So, now, let's go back to our business. What is CSS? CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. Oh, that should be Cascading Style Sheet. Now, CSS saves a lot of work with CSS. Yeah. Now, in this CSS class, you will learn how to use CSS to control the style and the layout of a single or multiple web pages all at once. Your website may contain several pages that are linked together. And you may want to write CSS that will change the color of all the pages at once, that will change the background color or the font color, or that will do a kind of amazing thing across your pages at once. You will need CSS to do that. Now, CSS defines how your HTML elements are to be displayed. Like, for example, if you check our last website, like this index, so this is what we were doing in the last topic. You see that it's not looking good. It doesn't have a specific layout. It's just full of text. no arrangement, nothing. So this is where CSS comes in. So it means that you use CSS to define how your HTML elements are to be displayed. So the CSS was included in HTML 4.2 to solve the problem. So you know that in HTML we do some things like adding font tag, aligning paragraph text, all those stuff. Now, when you begin to know CSS, you don't need to be applying font tag or to be using the color in HTML or to be using background color in HTML. All you focus on is your tag. Forget about some attributes in HTML. CSS will do all those things like increasing your font size, applying background color, making your text to be aligned to the left, to the right, or to the center. So that will be taken care of in CSS. So in HTML, you only focus on your tag, on the content of your site, and the structure. So, but when it comes to laying it out, applying formatting, color, background, all those things, you do that in CSS. And in this training, I'm going to focus on external style sheets. Because that is better. But before we go into that, why should I use CSS? It's a very good question. Why do you need to learn a new web language? Because CSS is a web language. It's not a programming language. It's just a styling language. Now, why do you need to learn a new web language? Just so that your link can change color. You know that. Let's go back to our web page that we have been working on. See that this link is giving me purple color because it has been visited. When I click on it, it took me to another page. But you may want this link color to be green. You may want this text to be yellow. You may want to apply different colors. Why do we need to do that? Why should we learn? Why should I use CSS? Well, CSS is more than that. If you want to change what an HTML tag does or to update your own site with a single file, you do that with CSS. Even there are some animations that you can do with CSS. CSS lets you do many things you can never do before. For example, if you want to change your A tag, your anchor tag, to always display text in bold, red, underline, you do that with CSS. If you later decided you wanted it to be green, or you want the font size to be 6 or something else, and you don't want your hyperlink reference to be underlined, you can do that with CSS. So to update your site, to change the outlook, to change many things, is easier done with CSS. Alright, why should I use CSS? I'm still on this note. You can set the background color for your text. You can indent text, you can align text. You can place items exactly where you want them to be on your page. And all that is possible with CSS. And most of these things can be done from a link file and can be updated quickly. The best way to use CSS is to write your CSS in a separate file and you link it with your HTML file. For example, in HTML, if you want to set the first paragraph of every page to be bold and italics, you will have to do this by applying bold to every paragraph. Look at this. Paragraph tag bold. So any item within this paragraph tag will be bold and italicized. But with CSS, all you need to do is to write your CSS rule in a place, and it will apply to all paragraphs on your page or on the whole website. So with CSS, you get rid of all those code, all those bold italics. You don't need them again in with CSS. So all you need to do is get rid of all those things and you place it in the head section of your page. All these things I'm saying may appear to be abstract. Web design and development is not a theory, it's a practical course. And I just want you to get the background before we go into the practical session. Now, so you have to apply style to any paragraph that need it. For example, the paragraph tag above can be given a CSS class. There is what called CSS class, and you apply the rule to that class. So any other paragraph can be given the same CSS class name, so they will share the same property. So for example, look at the previous slide. This particular paragraph, you applied bold property and a bold element to it. Assuming you have another paragraph, you have to be applying bold property to it again. But you don't need to do that. All you need to do is to give it a class attribute. Class equals to paragraph style. So any other paragraph, you just be assigning class attribute to them. Then you will now write CSS for this class. So by that, the CSS will be applied to all the paragraph. They will be bold and their color, everything can be changed with a CSS bearing the class name called paragraph style. So it will look like this. Like I said, a CSS rule name paragraph style will then be written inside the opening style and the closing style tag in the head section of your web page. So you go to the head section. Okay, let me copy this. If I exit, if I copy this, for example, and I go to my web page, I like to be practical enough. Okay, if you remember, we have this page. If I go to my web page, and I'll put it in the head section. We normally put embedded style sheet in the head section. After the title, I put it there. You see that I have a paragraph style. So we have the opening style. There is an attribute we put there, but nonetheless, let's leave it like that. So then let's say I've created a paragraph here, and I have a paragraph style, and I have a closing paragraph. Now this paragraph style, I will give it a class. I will say class equals to paragraph. Paragraph style. Don't forget that any attribute is in quotation mark. Now anything I type in between now, this is a cool display of CSS. Now you see that in my index, this is index file, I put a paragraph tag and I apply a class attribute called paragraph style to it, and I write this. So what is the essence of this class? I will now go and define the class. Don't note that my class starts with a dot paragraph style. The name of this paragraph, I put it here, and I put my CSS in between the opening style and the closing style, and I begin to apply font size 24, font weight bold, font style italics. Now if I save this and I go back to my web page and I refresh, so you can see what I have here. This is a cool display of CSS. It's bold, it's big enough, and all those things are made possible with CSS. Now let me do something cool by saying font color. Or just say color, not font color. Color, I don't know color to apply that. Let me just put hash 33DD. For example, I put that color and I save. If I go back here and I refresh, you can see the color is giving me, excuse me, it's giving me this kind of color. I just get an hexadecimal color. If you remember our previous topic about color, So I can decide to change the color to something like that. I'm only trying to pick 6 code from 16 hexadecimal color code, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0, then A B C D E F. That's hexadecimal color. So if I refresh this, you can see what color is giving me now. So what we are saying here is in the body of your site, you can style any part of your site. Just apply the class attribute. So any other paragraph in this site, if I put a paragraph here, for example, before here, if I put a paragraph here, and I say paragraph, okay, this is another show of CSS, and I close that paragraph, but I apply the same class attributes. Let me copy this, and I come here, and I paste, I apply the same attribute, and I save. So you can see that I don't need to be applying bold italics to every paragraph. All I need to do is just assign a class to your paragraph. So you just write the name of the class, preceding it with a dot, that style, that class name. Then you open a curly brace here. Then you begin to type your CSS properties. How to type these properties, we will learn that shortly. I will explain how to put all those properties. So if I go back to my browser and I refresh, so you can see this is another issue of CSS. They have the same property, green, and they are big like that, because I just use the class attribute. I apply class attribute to them, and I use that class attribute in my CSS, and I put that CSS in the head section of my site. This kind of CSS tag, we call it embedded style sheet. So that's a simple demonstration of CSS.